time to grow with the SEO Queen. Receive the perfect leads like never before. No traffic is gonna explode. It's time to grow.
I'm excited, everybody. This is Z Scott, and you are listening to the SEO Queen Tech Show, a podcast to help you get more credibility, visibility, and profitability through inspiration, technology, and marketing insight. And this podcast is for professionals and entrepreneurs who are looking to get more customers, clients, and patients. We're broadcast globally on Bashani Radio, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Bashani Radio, always talking about everything from New York City. I am so excited today to have two gentlemen here on my podcast today. I'm live from the G9 Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the beautiful JW Marriott Resort area. And so we are in the conference hall right now. And I just wanted to have a conversation about the technology of money. As you guys know, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, meme stocks, money markets have been on fire lately. And so we want to get some more clarification from these gentlemen. So here I have the legendary John Rustin, a technologist. If you are familiar with brands such as one of my favorites, Mary Kay, and many, many more, he has been on the forefront of network marketing technology in helping these companies to thrive. And then we also have fellow military veteran, Manathis Rich, who in fact is kin to one of the SEO Queen team members, Gabriel Rich, who has also been an alumni and guest on the podcast. So we're keeping it in the family here. But this is going to be a really good episode, you guys. So you definitely want to get a pencil and paper out and take some notes, because we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency and just the technology of money. So without further ado, John, my first question to you is, why is cryptocurrency so important for people to pay attention and spend time learning about?
Well, cryptocurrency levels the playing field for anybody who has access to the internet. Mm-hmm. We have history of money is based on the founders, going all the way back to the Merovingians, whichever way you want to say it. They're the ones that created ledgers to create banks. Used to trade beans for corn and the whole bartering system. But what the Italians realized is that if you could hold it in a data or a file and say that, one bean is worth blank and a cow is worth this. So they're the first ones to put a matrix together where, you could do loans. And when you realize that a commodity you can loan against or do futures, that's where the banking system started. So the fungibility of currency, with the way the Medici put it together, a lot of the major banks, so over the next 100, 200 years, the Medici were able to infiltrate churches and infiltrate governments. And that's where really central banking started. But the issue with central banking is that on a global scale, central banking is more regional, whereas the blockchain is global. So you don't have a government backing in a certain currency, you don't have a government paying for a military, you don't have a government trying to control the functionality of currency to control the citizens. Blockchain was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. A pseudonym, we don't know if he, she, it, or them. Mm-hmm. And it really doesn't matter. That person, individual, or group now allows someone in Africa to turn their mobile phone into a bank. It allows someone in Asia to turn their mobile phone into a bank. So unlike central banks, being decentralized means that it's a form of freedom. What's happening today is, and I use the US dollar. The US dollar is the last form of freedom in the world. But because there's so many dollars printed, and when 1971 came around and President Nixon moved us off the gold standard, we went to a debt-based society. The issue with that, based on the US Constitution, it is illegal for us to have currency not backed by gold or silver.
Right.
So as U.S.
That's
citizens,
incredible.
know.
I sat through the MC training yesterday, and I've read The Creature from Jekyll Island. Right. I understand that the Federal Reserve is not a part of the government. It is a private entity
with stockholders.
I understand that, but I did not know that it is illegal to unpeg the dollar from gold.
It's in the
I did
Constitution.
not know that.
That's
So
exactly
I mean, I was just really blown away at that. There were so many. I mean, as much as you know, and I'm on the blogs, I'm reading the books, you know, I'm studying this stuff.
Like we all have.
Right. But there's always something, there's always a new piece of the puzzle to this. So I want to know from you, John, like, what gave you the vision for the G9 Summit, and what is the G9 Summit, and why are you so passionate about, you know, spreading the word about cryptocurrency?
Well, I mean, it started for me when my grandfather, who owned a grocery store in Salisbury, actually East Spencer, North Carolina, was one of the first black local grocery stores in the 50s and 60s. A little store, everyone can go there. There's certain areas that black people at that time couldn't go to. And then my father's older brother was the first black sheriff in the South, John Rustin. So between my grandfather and him, they both showed me that skin color, being part Cherokee, all that doesn't matter. What matters is what you can put in as far as work ethic. But what I found when I got in the military was there was a certain utility bill that hadn't been paid when I was in the service. So when I went back to Texas, where I enlisted, and couldn't open a bank account, I'm saying, wait, you know, I just served all these years in the military and I can't open a bank account because I'm on something called check systems. So I thought, who else is on it? At that time, there's only maybe 28 million people, but check systems grown to somewhere close to 85 million Americans can't open a bank account. And that to me was where I had that first feeling of being unbankable. How could I go serve for the U.S. government and come back and not be part of the financial system? So that motivates me to know that the G9 Summit is not an alternative to the G9, G8, G21. All these world governments get together, the IMF, they get together to come up with rules of activity in each country. But if they've been doing it for 47 to 56 years, actually, and we still have 3 billion people in bankable, 3 billion, 1.7 billion don't have IDs, then I believe the G9 Summit is a representation of what we call the new system, which is the blockchain system, full public accountability. You don't have quantum easing, which is printing money until you can't print anymore, and then you're passing the buck towards future generations. So when you do that, you're selling out your kids, if you have them. But with the blockchain, you now have a solution for probably 3.1 now unbankable people. That's one of the reasons that if there's 1.7 people in the world that don't have IDs, they can't be part of the current system. And Americans, no disrespect, they don't understand that most banks in America are focused on the 1% that can be approved for a mortgage.
Right.
And if that's not the truth, then why are companies like Ace Check Cashing so predominant in minority areas? Why did the liquor store owners who live on one side of town, who own liquor stores on the other side of town where minorities live, they figured out, well, because banking's so messed up and so many people unbankable, now let's start check cashing locations.
Exactly.
And then the migrants coming here were another targeted market in Texas and Florida. So you're talking the remittance industry is worth about $300 billion.
Wow.
From Filipinos to Mexicans to people from Guatemala, people from Venezuela.
El Salvador,
Cuba.
the list goes
Most
on.
Cubans are sent, 60% of the money sent to Cuba is from Cubans living in the U.S. to support their families. So G9 Summit's goal isn't to be anti-government, but at least use the blockchain to fix situations that have been talked about.
So I'm glad you said that, because that's a perfect segue to you, Manathas. So you are working with a project with Go Nitro with homelessness. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. And yeah, I tell you, if it wasn't for this man sitting next to me to my right, John Rustin, I wouldn't be sitting here. So, yeah, the VX technology home, that is, I just became aware of it within the last month and a half, about a month or so. And it was like, this is really, really a powerful and interesting thing, especially when I went through Portland recently, where I lived for a while. I couldn't recognize the city. with all these people that were displaced, homeless, houseless, families, veterans, you name it. They're on the street, and it's like, what are we doing? And we say we're the richest country or the richest nation on the globe, and we've got all these people that are displaced, don't have anywhere to live. And that didn't make any sense. So while I was in Portland, I saw these little houses, like 70 square feet, and they were in parking lots, and they were allowed people to go in there, maybe wash up, brush their teeth, maybe change their clothes, but they couldn't stay because it was, it's like we got too many people, so it was like a carousel. And it's like, this just didn't make any sense. I was down on 5th and Oak in Portland, Oregon, and 5th and Oak was one of the busiest streets in Oregon. If you know anything about the city of Oregon, city of Portland, it's very, very busy downtown where all the major hotels are and everything. I could stand in the middle of that street, didn't see a car, a bus, a transit, anything, and I could take a picture, I could eat lunch in the middle of the street. But you could see tents. You saw tents on corners, sidewalks, down the street, and everything. So when John was talking about this project, and I think John was taking a look to see if he had potentially the right person for this this project, and it is a project. I was just in awe at, well, first of all, the size of it. I was like, man, this is not a little place, but it's not the biggest place. It was right. It could help a number of families, or a number of people can get off the street, have a place to lay their head, have a way to cook, clean themselves. And the bonus on top of that was they had a way to earn money or earn a living from home. And I don't mean logging on to somebody else's job and they said, here's how much you're worth. They can log on at home and make a livable money because the cost of living in the home is so inexpensive. And that combination right there is just fantastic.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So I had the opportunity to see a video of this VX home technology. And I tell you, I've been telling everybody about it. I was speaking to a client last night at dinner about it, and they're like, I need some more information. I want to know because my family got property in Alabama. We want one of these homes.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of that.
Right.
We're getting a lot of that. I spoke with a young lady from the islands, from the other islands on the other side over in Jamaica. I was speaking with her from New York last night. And it was so interesting because of the versatility of where these homes can go. Not only, and they leave zero footprint, which is really, really an amazing thing.
A zero carbon footprint?
Their carbon footprint is
zero.
Virtually
Okay,
zero.
wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible.
But what was so interesting is this young lady, I was like, well, what's your plan for this home? What is it that you're looking to do? And she says, well, she's a caseworker, mental illness, with veterans and people on the street, drug addiction, people that really struggle in life. And what was so interesting is they want to be able to relocate the client out of their environment. And now they can, so with these houses, we can put them and relocate them so that they're not in the environment that's got them in their way or can be a hindrance to their recovery. And so they can take this home and they can put them somewhere else. And it's really, really interesting because I was like, and where is she at? She's in Manhattan. She's in Manhattan, New York. But as I was like, Manhattan, I'm thinking concrete. I've been there.
Right.
Where you go drop what?
I've been to Manhattan too. I know exactly what she's saying.
But what she's saying is that they have potential places in New Jersey, this, that, nearby, but far enough away that it's not going to be. It can be helpful to the client.
Right.
So I never even thought of that application. I never thought of that being an application for these houses. So, and it just continues to come. I recently spoke with a gentleman who was talking about the manufacturing company one of their challenges is their employees have to drive so far to get to their place of work. So now they says with these homes we can build a community a mile away from the place, which now settles that transportation issue. So many applications. It's not it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean the houses are so affordable that companies could, build the houses so their employees could live there as well. So, I mean, I'm most fascinated by the fact that the homes mine cryptocurrency and then, just helping get homeless off the street. I think there's something like 500,000 homeless people just in LA County alone or something like that. It's crazy.
I mean, we thought it was the country, but it's LA, huh?
Well, I heard, no, it's more, maybe it'd be 50,000, but I mean, 50, 500, it's so many people. I think there was a fire, not too far from my house in one of the encampments, and it's just heartbreaking to see that, and it's nice to see that the G9 Summit and you are helping to work with John on a solution for this issue. So my next question is for you, John.
Okay.
And as a business owner, how can a business owner start accepting cryptocurrency as payment? What advice would you give them?
One of the things that we did, we're a member of the U.S. Black Chamber, we're a member of the Atlanta Chamber, a member of Beverly Hills Chamber, member of the Puerto Rican International Chamber. We're in probably 12 chambers. Our technology with POS system, one of our partners, which is CycleBit, they're in 200,000 retail locations.
Okay.
Pontiacs is coming in from Asia, CycleBit's from Canada. They're both giving us the ability to take their technology and provide it at no cost. So we want to give the POS machines to the retail stores at no cost because most merchants are charging them on a 24-month, a 34-month, in some cases a 5 or 10-year contract. So by bringing the POS machines at no cost, it doesn't violate their existing agreements.
Right.
So that's the way we feel we'll probably have about 100,000, 150,000 customers by 2000.
So my question to you, for the retailers that are listening to this podcast, how can they contact you to get one of those machines?
They have to go to gonitrowireless.com.
Okay.
And they can inquire there.
Okay.
And or one of our affiliates or an agent can speak to them.
Okay.
But mostly go to gonitrowireless.com.
And that's spelled?
Go9TRO wireless.
Like the Arabic number 9.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So go9TRO wireless.com and inquire there, and we'll have someone contact them. We have local city managers in 300 cities around the world right now. We wanted to get the network in place before the product. And then we also have people who've bought distribution agreements in 15 countries, so it's exclusive to them. They can create their own models. But if you're a retail store and you want to explore using cryptocurrency, the benefit is that to not usurp your existing contract with your merchant provider, just work with us to get you the free product. And then basically that makes it where even if you do change your mind, you don't have to lose your primary merchant account.
Right. So my next question is for online companies such as my own, how would we start accepting?
Well, we're actually we get certified as merchant partners with Gemini.
Okay.
Winklevoss twins. We received that through CycleBit. So on the internet side, we have APIs we can provide to websites that also can try and use cryptocurrencies as a means versus credit cards. So that's already in place. Ben Tran is the international marketing developer for CycleBit. So we would pass that individual to Ben. You do the typical corporate KYC, not personal. That would be done through Gemini. Once Gemini approves you, they'll be able to give you an API to embed into your website. And they're also an exchange. So the good thing about the way we're doing it is most owners don't want to learn about cryptocurrency. By us using CycleBit and Gemini, we actually deposit cash in your account the next day. So you don't have to receive crypto and then go sell it on an exchange. So the adoption of crypto for retail owners or even big box stores has to be really easy. So because you take Bitcoin in and we deposit cash.
Wait, hold on. So I want to make sure I'm understanding you right.
I'm just so used to it.
Slow down.
I've been doing this
because I think I heard you, but I just want to verify I heard you right.
Okay.
So you saying that a company can, you can have your online Shopify store, whatever you're doing, people pay with crypto, and then you get cash deposited into your account.
Yes, ma'am. We do ABA routing. Wow. Well, that's what makes us different. So, but that's also for a physical store too.
That's right.
So if I come into your store, let's say you have a coffee shop on Wilshire. I used to live at 1010 Wilshire, so I know that street.
Right.
So I could walk out with a Bitcoin wallet, walk into your coffee shop, transact in Bitcoin, but your deposited cash is in 24 hours into your account. So we eliminate retail owners online and offline to go through the headache of worried about the fluctuation of crypto by paying you in cash in 24 hours.
So is it exchanged based on what it is at the time of the transaction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
As soon as they buy, it's recorded because Gemini is an exchange. So as soon as the transaction happens, it's blocked up cash to be deposited into your bank account. And so, well, I mean, that's the thing about the last few months has been a quiet blessing. Now we're at the point where we want to unveil what's going on. Yeah. So the beautiful thing about having this podcast is that information is very powerful. Absolutely. And sometimes even though you have the power to do something, you have to be very patient when you release it. So we've been very hesitant until the G9 Summit to tell people that we have a full solution for someone who's not a cryptography person, where they can accept Bitcoin and not be afraid of the fluctuations because you're getting paid in cash in your regular bank account in 24 hours.
Right, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Okay.
She caught her breath.
That's okay. I mean, but this is where we need to tell the public what's going on, because we've been very hesitant because there are some very powerful people who want to get into our space. I've been in crypto for about 12 years. In fact, I was working a Digicoin project way back in '98 before Bitcoin had a name. I was a VP of the largest MLM software company in the world. So we had to work with companies like Stella up at Solid Trust, and back then Alert Pay, and Coastal out of Costa Rica at one time. And so again, having the ability to have clients to move money on international scales what prepared us for taking blockchain on an international scale, which makes it easy for a retailer, offline and an online person, because of the experience. So we're ready to show that to the world, basically.
Oh, that's awesome. So what else is happening at the G9 Summit that you want to share with the listeners?
Well, our focus for the G9 Summit is that for the last 3 years, we've been a heavy investor in World CryptoCon and other things like that. I spoke at Chain Exchange with all the people that were there, and the focus was to give back the power to the people. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in the retail space, we have a solution for you. If you're on a website, we have a solution for you. But the most important thing is that because of us being, especially in the United States, we've got to understand that every 75 years, power changes on the planet Earth. And right now, you look at China, they're actually launching their cryptocurrency at the Olympics.
That's happening this month.
Yeah, they're going to give you $30 of their crypto to buy food. Now, most countries, except for El Salvador now, just announced that Bitcoin is considered currency there. It's legal. You got to understand, we're in the most powerful nation in the world, and we're 6 years behind.
Right.
Which means that it's holding true to the fact that every 65, 7 years, power changes to another superpower. And again, the regulation of cryptocurrency, the banking situation is trying to get involved now. People who are in administrative positions who can't spell BTC or Bitcoin, trying to make policy isn't that they're not trying to be sincere and protect, quote, the people. But most of what you see is someone turning the lights on, and now everybody's scrambling.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you when I was in graduate school for public policy, monetary policy was not discussed. No. Crypto, the internet, money technology was not discussed. It was not discussed at all. So I definitely see how we're behind, because I went to one of the top
I understand.
universities.
You understand.
Right.
From an educational point of view. But
Right.
most
Yeah.
people don't have your level of education.
That's true. Too.
Right.
You know, the average business owner who owns a real company in America is 63 to 69. So they're still remembering when black and white TV came and went to color.
Well, I was speaking with the CEO of Data 360, which is an AI company, and she was saying that 70% of business owners are technologically behind in.
That's correct.
Yeah. So when she explained that to me, that also lined up with the statistic that only 30% of businesses have an SEO strategy, 70% of companies don't. And if you dive deeper into those numbers, and a lot of the reasons why people didn't have a website, over 50% of companies didn't even have a website in 2014.
Right.
2014 is because they were didn't feel comfortable with the technology and didn't trust anyone to help them. So we're dealing with layers of issues with technology and supposedly the most advanced country in the world. So I mean, it's definitely, events like this is definitely needed, because I can tell you, before I got here, I had started a wallet because I was going to get gold coin. But I did not finish funding that because I still had some questions. And now I know I have a community, MCMC, I can go to if I have questions. Now I was like, now I'm ready to go.
You got it.
And one more, just a little input on that website thing. And I'm not the highest tech guy. That's why I can speak from position of strength of ignorance. Is that back in the that mid to late 90s, I remember when people were moving from the static page, right?
Correct.
You were reading everything, and then all of a sudden, well, that was too slow. And then, then they started introducing Flash.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, hey, you need to get this website. And then they had these intros,
Right.
And you got to check out my website.
Right.
But that wasn't the information. That was just the technology.
Right.
And so a lot of people were really impressed with that, but it didn't do what it needed to do.
Right.
And that was to convey your message.
Correct.
It was also to allow you an opportunity to get to that end user that can purchase from you. Transactions, which is going to make you the money. But we have websites that just check it out.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I know this is true because as a SEO expert, I can't tell you how many websites I've looked at that didn't have a call to action or a way to contact them or a way to buy or directions on what to do next. It's like people put that website up and they're like, I don't understand why I'm not making no money. I don't understand why I'm not making no sales. It's like, honey, you need a call to action, not a pretty picture.
Yeah. So that's why I said it, because I'm a baby boomer, and being a baby boomer, website, internet, and the only reason I know the internet was because I served in the United States Air Force.
There you go.
And I was part of the intranet, right? And then it was where we were and basically only the government and universities had that opportunity, right?
Access.
And so, we might have been involved with the first case of stalking. And the only reason I say that was I was stationed overseas. I was over in Germany. We were communicating with an individual at Stanford University. And we were using the old Z128, 148s, and we were using the Qualcomm, remember the Qualcomm and all of this, the dumb computer here right now,
dial up and all that.
So, so you did your, you got your,
right,
exactly.
the static sound.
We still had the data cards.
I remember that.
The data cards. But what happened was we had this book that might have been about 1.5 inches thick that had all these numbers, digits, and characters in it, and that was their address.
Yes, correct.
Wow.
And so we would put that in at the MS DOS,
the command line,
the C and everything, And so now you put all that stuff in. And
I learned that. My dad taught me how to use DOS.
Right, and here you are. That's right. MS DOS.
Right.
So here we are. We're going like this. I'm going, oh, dog, was that? Did I put it in?
It was a high, or was it a one?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Or was it a down? Or was it an I?
And that's where we are right now. The cryptocurrency platform, the internet is basically internet 0.01. Blockchain is actually 4.0.
Okay.
So 4.2 was the adoption of computers that had Mosaic.
Okay.
And then 4.3 was the HTML, PHP type platforms and the integration with applets and blah, blah, blah. So now with the mobile phone really being 3.9 because there's more mobile search now than there is on PC search.
Yep, it's true.
Right.
Blockchain is 4.0.
Gotcha.
So now you have a brand new, quote, internet, public ledger. Ethereum gives you the same ability as the internet with smart contracts. So now you're looking at really, we're at the edge of 5.0, but we have 99% of people don't understand that.
Don't understand that.
So that's why we need help evangelizing. Because again, you don't have to be a computer programmer, you don't have to be a geek, you just have to be someone that says that Bitcoin is here to stay. Blockchain is here to stay. Ethereum is here to stay. But the issue is that it is still waiting on adoption. And the secret to our adoption at G9 is we're providing internet access in 137 countries. We actually, for our clients, we give them, at no cost, free cryptocurrency tokens to start practicing the use. So then that gives us a global footprint no one else has. The other thing with the homes, our focus with the homes for veterans like both of us, is that not only are we providing a secured environment for a veteran, but families of 4 who are homeless to have a, what I call dignity of ownership.
Yes.
When you can buy a house for under $80,000 that can be built in 10 to 15 days,
That's correct.
and it's self-sufficient with patented solar technology, heating technology, plus you get free computers, fully furnished refrigerator, everything you need to function, even beds
Right.
in the bedrooms. And then you have it where it's self-sufficient in the sense of not being able to plug into the local grid. You don't need that.
So you don't have a gas bill, light
Oh,
bill,
no,
all
yeah.
that.
It's
Right.
100%.
It's all- yeah.
Electricity is
self-contained.
your refrigerator, everything's powered with your solar.
Right.
The technology can produce 350 watts of electricity.
Yeah.
That's serious.
That is.
Yeah. And that's on the low end.
And that's the low end, yeah. And then it comes even with septic tank if you want to be off grid completely. And yet we also have relationships with the 2 largest home supply retailers in America, and they'll be here Saturday to talk about that relationship. So even though we're a startup, with that relationship, one entity has 2,200 stores, the other one has 1,700. So as a company, what we need help for in that sense is we need agents to evangelize that.
Right.
So technically, we should be able to build 3,000 houses a month, which makes us the largest builder in the world. Right now, we're the largest wireless internet provider in the world as of this month. And next month, when we go public with our partnerships and have an ability to build 3,000 houses a month, that's really something that can change the world. And G9 Summit is all about what we've been promised for the last 50, 60 years. The IMF, the banks, the world leaders.
World
They get
Economic
those
Forum.
pictures, they take those pictures,
Right.
and they all say, we're making a change. We hear what you say in each country. We're working as a consortium, but here's the problem. All of us have been hearing it for over 50 years.
Yes, we have.
Ever since the League of Nations and the UN,
Yes.
there's not been a solution for mankind from a man or organization that on the physical side, not the spiritual side, God has his own plan, we've got to follow that one too. But while we're here, for us to contribute to fight homelessness.
Right.
And G9 is the first step.
Yes.
We have another one coming up, a G9 Summit coming up in October. This one's for us to set a foundation of advisors to give us advice, just like they have G7 and G21.
Right.
October, we're going to invite another group. So next year, the intent is to have a giant summit in Las Vegas, where both groups actually vote, approve what the summit's themes are, and what we need to help first.
Right.
But for our subsidiary companies, it's all about finishing the last mile that no public company wants to finish in 137 countries. Starting in America, there's 580,000 homeless people and almost 58,000 homeless veterans, providing them a solution, but making sure the solutions can be deployed. And
Right.
that's what makes the G9 Summit very unique, because it's an umbrella on top of everything.
All right, I have some more questions, but I see we're going to have to do a part 2
No worries.
on this. I'm going to have to, because I want to know a little bit more about the G9 tokens, and I want to know, what is a city and a country developer? But we're running out of time. So again, this is the SEO Queen Tech Show, and I've been interviewing John Rustin along with Manathas Rich, and I thank you both for this amazing conversation. I am so inspired, so excited about all the technology changes, and just like, you know, fashion, sports, entertainment, everything, we on the forefront.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having
Of
us.
the technology,
Yeah,
and
thank you for
I
having
really
us.
want everybody to know to go to the website, which is again.
You can go to GoNitro, Go9TRO and see everything with our technologies. And then G9Summit.com for the events and what's been going on this month, which you'll see also again in October.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's time to grow with the SEO Queen. Get visibility.